So, let me ask you a question. What would it look like if we were to take Stellaris and Victoria 2, combine them together into one game, but also let you automate basically any aspect of that game, so you can focus on learning and getting good at the parts you actually want to be involved in? Well, if you did that, you would get Distant Worlds. Specifically, in my case, Distant Worlds Universe. There is a Distant Worlds 2, but this is the one that I have played the most. Hello everybody, Dark Phoenix Gaming here, and welcome to Distant Worlds Universe. Which, when it comes to space 4X games that are like Stellaris, but a lot more in depth and in a lot of ways more interesting, Distant Worlds is one of the few I've tried that I actually play more than Stellaris. Although I am still learning it, so take that with a grain of salt. It started to get to that stage though, and I went ahead and skipped the setup things with creating an empire and setting up our galaxy. I tend to leave everything on default, so the only thing that you would have seen was me picking my race and picking a name for them. So we're playing as humans, and we are the Terran Republic. And one thing worth noting, while there isn't exactly a story in Distant Worlds, there is some underlying narrative stuff to do with the past of the universe, and apparently some of that comes up in some big events that can happen due to one of the expansions. Distant Worlds Universe is basically the combo pack. It's every expansion and all the content for this game, so yeah, just get that. And I have it on GOG, by the way, which is worth mentioning because I know a lot of people like to mention having problems getting Distant Worlds Universe to run, and how it doesn't seem to function properly on modern systems for them. Not even kidding, I've never had a single problem with this game and getting it to run. The worst I've had is every now and then I have had to play around with some settings a little bit, because sometimes, just due to the nature of this being an older game and they have things set up, the main menu and the actual game I'm in right now are technically separate executables. Which means that sometimes if I go from the main menu to starting a new game and it loads into this, it won't load up in full screen, which can get kind of irritating. But that's honestly the worst issue I've had. But yeah, I'm setting the way I have things set up, and the backstory of the universe is basically there's some great calamity in the past, so everyone's been reduced to pre-space flight. We have the ability to launch ships and everything, but nobody has FTL travel or advanced technology except for the pirates. And we will get to pirates later. We will get to pirates. Anyways, the thing with economics in Distant Worlds, and I'll be a little vague until it comes up full force, but the economic system, you have your state economy and your private economy, so there's like the businessmen and everything doing all their things in the background, and they will make you some money without you having to get involved, from, I would assume, like taxes and tariffs on them transporting goods and things. But for that to get started, to do one thing, there are some options to start in different ages of the galaxy where you already have your space technology and things, but I find it much more interesting to start from basically the lowest point possible. where you have the ability to travel through space, but you don't have FTL technology yet, so you can't do faster than light travel. And in order to get out of here, and basically for it to be possible to get to any other star system, we're going to have to find that technology, because it unlocks through you finding something in your home system, which... This is our home system, by the way. Looks quite massive, I'm sure you'll agree. But if we go ahead and just zoom out a bit more, see, that's just one star. This particular galaxy is 700 stars in size. And not only that, Distant Worlds universe can do galaxies up to 1,400 in size. It's absolutely amazing. Now, there's going to be a decent number of these that are uninhabited, so we can go there and colonize them, take them for ourselves, or just, if we build enough outposts in the area and our influence starts extending out, they will fall into our space, kind of thing. It will become more clear as things go along, honestly. But the thing with Distant Worlds is that at first, as you're getting going, it's a very slow start. Things take a while to ramp up. And there's a lot of downtime, and it's very slow, which is why, just because of how much downtime and how slow it is, this will probably be the only Distant Worlds universe video I ever do on this channel. Just because everything is so slow and takes so long to get going that's not very exciting to watch, I know. I love playing this sort of game, but it's very difficult to make it interesting for actual viewing this sort of 4X game. Which is why these days you see a lot less Stellaris and that sort of thing from me, because things are so slow to start out. But I can't really cut out the starting bits because they're important to where things are going in the future. Which is why I sort of trend more towards stuff that has some excitement at the start to get things going. But yeah. If I find some interesting stuff happening in game, I might make a video about it, but don't expect to see this game up here very often. As much as I love it, I honestly feel like it's not great for content. But getting back to the game proper, right now all we have is our home planet, which is worth mentioning. The entire galaxy is randomly generated. I'm pretty sure there's an option where you can set up a map and have a static map and use that instead. I've never done it. I actually think the random generation is interesting enough. I don't need to set a static map. But as we start out, we just have our home planet, and we have no spaceport or anything, which is something we need to fix. We are going to need to build ourselves a spaceport, so I go over to here and we'll spend 8,077 credits to begin construction of a medium spaceport. And I can now unpause the game. And I'm going to increase the speed a little bit. And you'll be able to see as it goes along, the spaceport is actually physically being constructed above our planet. So you'll be able to observe it being built as it gets built, which I think is a really nice touch, showing the actual construction. One thing I will say for this game, though, it's... And greetings to the pirates. Greetings to our victims. You may have noticed that we are about to attack you. For the small price of 275 credits per month, we could avoid this unnecessary violence. Yeah. So as I was mentioning before, the pirates are the only factions in the game if you start in this sort of dark age setting where everyone has no FTL or technology or anything. There's some vague great cataclysm at some point in the past that everyone lost their technology and their empires and such. The pirates are the only ones that still have their technology. So at the start, they're overwhelmingly stronger than everyone else, so you really have to just pay up whenever they ask at the start. And you just gotta suck it up and give them the money. For now, we have an advisor because I have some stuff set up to be automated. Just so we can... Because I'm still learning the game, so automating some things helps, but... that automation is to get us a couple of construction ships. And generally the advisor suggestions are pretty good, except when they want me to cancel my payment plan to the pirates when I have basically no fleet. That one I tend to just ignore, but yeah. Shouldn't be too long, but we'll have a spaceport. Then I'll be able to spin up some exploration ships. Because if you look around, you'll notice we know absolutely nothing about any of the planets in our system. We'll have to explore them and learn a bit more about things to deal with that. Can't really do the construction the advisor wants until we have our shipyard up, unfortunately. Almost done. And advisor is suggesting we offer a smuggling contract to the pirates, which, if you're short on certain resources, this is something you can do. Just tell the pirates to smuggle things. And I have research automated right now, so the game's AI is doing my research for me. Just because I don't know the research system awfully well, so having it set up to do its own research and all, I find more helpful. And with that, we now have a spaceport, so we can actually start building ships. Which, as I suspected, as the advisor always does, we'll start with exploration ships. So we can explore in our home system and find resources to bring back home. And one thing you're gonna find that's quite cool is and we appear to have met more pirates, probably. Yeah. One thing you'll find that's kind of cool is, yeah, our exploration ship is done there. Take the exploration ship and tell it to explore the star system. That one's doing the same. So they will just go off and explore stuff for us. And some of our construction ships are done, but the exploration and construction and military ships are all owned by the state, but one thing you're going to find that's very interesting is it's not just the state, essentially your empire's government, that will make use of the spaceport to build things. Basically, civilian businesses and the like is the best way I've come up with to describe it, but they will also make use of the spaceport to build cargo hauling transport ships and gas miners and such to go out into your system to where there are resources and haul them back. So your private economy will also be helping out in making you money by utilizing opportunities to transport goods or extract them if you've not got to the point where they can be extracted by your space stations yet. As you can see, we've got some transport ships and gas mining ships that are being constructed there for us. Yeah. The advisors want us to build a couple of military ships, which this is going to be kind of expensive and cut into our profit margins, but you do want to get at least a few military ships early on, because in addition to the pirates, which I will say it will be a very long while before we're going to be able to take on pirates. Yeah, we found some ruins. This is a thing that will happen often throughout, is you'll find little events of ruins that likely contain ancient and lost technologies, and from what I've seen, you always want to be investigating these. For one thing, the ruins are how you uncover FTL technology again. Although in this case, we just found money. Another thing though, your cash flow is going to be negative quite a bit at the start. You shouldn't worry about that. I don't know if this is a smart thing to do or not, but pretty much whenever I get the option to retrofit my ships and bases, I will always go for it. Just because I figure having everything up to standards tech-wise can never be a bad thing. So I just do it every time. And personally, at the start, I'm never running on the slowest speed because things take so long to get done that way. Some more retrofits. It just takes so long to be able to get done like that. It's not worth the bother. But yeah, as I was saying before, in addition to just the pirates, you have space wildlife that you will run into out in your system when you're exploring. And you want to be able to kill them off so you can explore and set up mining outposts everywhere. It's kind of an important thing to have, so you want to have at least some military ships. Even if you won't need a ton for that. And yeah, things are not super involved right now. And because I have my construction ships automated, after the exploration ships go out there and survey a planetoid and discover what the resources are on it, the construction ships will automatically go out and build a mining station. Which is good, because mining stations are a lot more efficient. They're a lot more efficient than something like a mining ship, which has to manually drill the stuff. You have the station that will just drill for ore around the clock, essentially. And then transports from the civilian transport industry will go to that mining station, pick up the goods, and deliver them to your ship. So that's another thing that I just really love about this game. It actually displays to you. You can just look at what's going on and see a visual representation of your supply lines and how the goods are flowing across your empire. Or in my case, to my one planet. Yeah, just see how the goods flow to us. And it looks like we have some more pirates who want protection money. At this stage, as I said, you really can't fight the pirates, so just pay up. Once you have a sufficiently advanced fleet, you can go wipe out the pirate scum. But this early in the game, trying to fight the pirates would only result in your end, or your planet being raided and plundered by pirates for loot and slaves. Probably both. Probably both. But yeah, we don't have a lot going on right now, but you can see the beginnings of a supply line where we have a station that's extracting valuable materials and transports from our civilian sector going to that station to pick up the goods and drop them off back on Earth, which is making us some money. And in fact, that is where basically all of our cash is coming from at this stage. And the advisors want us to cancel the treaty with the pirates. Guys, are you trying to get us killed by those pirates? That's the one thing that I recommend you ignore from the advisors whenever they suggest that you cancel a treaty with the pirates. Use your own judgment as to when your fleet is strong enough to take on the pirates. That's when you ought to cancel the treaty. Or when the pirates cancel it themselves. Really, those are the only times you should cancel it. Don't rely on the AI advisors. They are shockingly bad at determining when you want to cancel that particular treaty. And it will probably get your face kicked in by pirates if you listen to them. So just do yourself a favor and do not listen to them. We only have a tiny bit of mining infrastructure in terms of stations and stuff, so at this stage you'll still be relying pretty heavily on the mining ships that the private sector produced to get your minerals back to you. Yeah. But honestly, just the atmosphere and aesthetic and the visual representation of having a supply line, for your goods that's visible, and it's not just, yes, there are ships supplying your goods back to your core systems. Trust me on this one, bro, that they don't do that. All those sorts of things just make this a game that I really love spending time with. And how interesting things are does tend to snowball over time, but like Stellaris, this is one of those games that a single campaign could easily last 100 hours, if not more. But honestly, if you like Stellaris and you're not opposed to learning complex systems and diving into mechanics that will take you a very long time to learn, then I do recommend this game, with a caveat. As you can see, a lot of the UI is a little bit outdated, and it doesn't exactly scale well for certain screen sizes. Like, my particular screen is a 1440p monitor, so the scaling is not great, honestly. That's the one complaint I have about Distant Worlds 1. The UI scaling and just the icons they choose to represent everything and that sort of thing is not spectacular. So, well, there's a case to be made that of UI scaling and having it be easier to get into due to more compatibility and things, that sort of thing. There's a case to be made that that makes Distant Worlds 2 the better choice. I've not played enough of Distant Worlds 2 to know if it's a downgrade in any significant way that would make that a bad choice, so I really can't give you any recommendations or advice on that front. Do your own research, look into it for yourself, and make your own mind up about which one you think is the better choice for you. But the Distant Worlds games are amazing from what I've played of them, I can say that. And I highly recommend you get into the series. Anyways, this will about do it for today. I'll probably have another video later down the line on Distant Worlds 2, because I feel it's only fair that I show off both games a little bit. Even if this is more of just a short snippet and first impressions than anything more comprehensive. Honestly, if I wanted to make a full comprehensive video on this game, or if I ever decided I wanted to make a review of it, I'd be playing for at least 50 hours. In any case, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like. Comment down below if you have any tips and suggestions for future content, games you'd like to see on this channel, that sort of thing. And subscribe to see more like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. See you then, folks. See you then. Bye for now.